Robbery and Extortion, Lecture 15. Robbery. Robbery is 211 PC, and it's a felonious taking or asportation, the moving of the personal property of another from their person or immediate presence anywhere they have access to the property, meaning it has to be face-to-face, against their will, accomplished by means of force or fear. Force needs to be more than that necessary to carry off the property. So you have a purse snatch. Person runs up to Mrs. Jones, grabs her the handle or strap of her purse. She pulls, they go back and forth. This now becomes a strong arm robbery because force has to be used to take it. If he was able to slip the strap of the purse off her shoulder and simply run down the street, that still would be a grand theft felony, but it would not be as serious as strong arm robbery. If you have to push the person down, hit the person, do anything where force of any type is used to be able to collect the property from them. Fear of bodily injury to any relative or property. A bodily injury to any person in their presence during the robbery. So in other words, a person could open their coat, show a gun, say, "Give me your money," and that's enough. Intimidation is the same as fear. If you've seen people that panhandle, they have a little sign that says, we'll work for food or money or whatever. And it says, and they come up and they say, "Give me $5. Can I have $5? Depending on the inflection of the voice, "Give me $5. If they say it loud, if they say it with a lot of power, might intimidate somebody, might put fear into that person. If the person is giving them the money because they're in fear, then it becomes robbery. First degree robbery, 212.5. This is of any inhabited dwelling or vehicle or trailer coach or floating home. Basically, the person's coming into your home and ripping you off. Or robbery of an operator of paid transportation, meaning taxi cabs, BART, bus, any sort of paid transportation. ATM machines. If someone robs somebody at the ATM machine, that's a felony. Penalty for first degree robbery is 3, 4, or 6 years. Second degree robbery is all other robberies. So street robbery. Robbery of a pharmacy has an enhancement, 6 years. Carjacking, which is basically robbery, but the goal is to steal the car. Felonious taking of the automobile of another from the person or immediate presence against their will, accomplished by means of force or fear. The punishment 3, 5, or 9 years, so it's a stiffer punishment. Specific intent crime. Kidnap during a carjack is additional punishment of life in prison. If a death occurs during the carjacking, that's considered a capital case. It's murder under the felony murder rule. Use of weapons or priors can enhance the punishment more. Extortion 518 PC. This is the obtaining of, not necessarily taking, of personal property of another or an official act of a public officer with his or her consent induced by wrongful use of force or fear. The fear in extortion could be of a threat of unlawful injury at any time to the victim or the victim's property, blow up their car, blow up their house, or any relative of the victim, or any other person for that matter, or fear of being accused of a crime, or fear of deformity, disgrace, or crime being exposed, or fear of any secret being exposed. So they could have, let's give you an example. You have a city council person who, and this is a weird example, but it'll work, and there's a home developer, and the home developer has pictures of this city council person who's married, is well known in the community, with 2 or 3 prostitutes in bed with the prostitutes having sex. And he tells them that he's going to release these photos to his wife if he doesn't approve a housing project coming up or assist him greatly in approving the housing project. And so that would be one way of extorting the person. They're really not getting money out of them. They're getting some official duty or capacity from them. Punishments. PC 520, extortion by force or fear is a felony. 521, extortion under color of authority is a misdemeanor, meaning that if that city council person turns around and tells the developer, either you give me money or I'm going to make sure that your project doesn't make it through, that would be extortion under color of authority. 524, attempted extortion is a wobbler. In the following chart, if you really look at the difference between extortion and robbery, you'll see that number one, that the requirement for the felonious taking of property against their will in robbery, they may actually give it up with their consent in extortion because they're worried about being exposed. Also, in robbery, it needs to be a face-to-face. It needs to be in their presence. And in extortion, that's not required. It could be in their presence or out of their presence. An example of an extortion case that I dealt with was a massage parlor in Berkeley, where a disgruntled employee who had been arrested by San Francisco PD used San Francisco Sheriff's letterhead to try to extort $5,000 from the 2 ladies running the massage parlor, threatening to close them for acts of prostitution and saying that he was a sergeant with the police department. And I was able to investigate that case and eventually arrest the person when they tried to pick up money from the victim. And when I arrested them, they had an envelope which had all the photocopies of the property receipt that they had photocopied the top letterhead to try to make a new letterhead so that they could send the extortion note. And that basically sunk that person's ship. Research and review. PC 523 wants you to look up that section for sending threatening letters, and also PC 522, obtaining a signature by force.